Welcome, everybody. College Football Week 8 is over, and it's time to get ready for College Football Week 9. I'm Joe at the Game House, and today we're going to be going over 5 things to watch in College Football Week 9. Okay, College Football Week 9 is here. Maybe not the greatest slate of games, but there are some to watch, and definitely college football is never worth ignoring. There's always going to be those weeks where you don't think anything's going to go on, and then everything crazy happens, and that's how it goes. But we're going to get to the 5 things to watch college football right now. Again, do it, say 5 things, not just 5 games, because it gives us a little bit more freedom in terms of what we're watching this week or every week for this college football season. So, the biggest thing to watch this week, Oregon at Utah. 2 1-loss teams right now. A lot on the line here in terms of college football playoff implications, Pac-12 championship implications. It's going to be a very good game. Now, Oregon rebounded from their loss to Washington with the win over Washington State last week. Ducks still have a great offense, which average 47 points per game, and their defense still remains solid. They can put pressure on teams fast, and they'll likely be favored over Utah, but they shouldn't take the Utes lightly. Now, we just saw Utah last week beat USC. We're going to talk about Utah in a second here. They are going to have some issues, so we're going to talk about that. They lost to Oregon State this year. That's their one loss. Some not solid wins, too. Again, beat USC. They did so with the backup quarterback, Bryson Barnes. They just announced Cam Rising is out for the season. He suffered a knee injury last year, and Bryson Barnes will continue to be the starter. Been inconsistent, but done enough to get some wins because their defense is physical, their offensive line is physical, and man, it's just tough for them to play. So their defense is the strength of the team. They only allow 15 points per game. That can make things tough for Oregon. If Utah can make this into a defensive slugfest, they have a chance to win. Barnes just would have to hit on a couple key plays down the field, and he's done that a couple times. He is undefeated as a starter. And I think that could be good news for Utah this week. Again, lots on the line. There's no more North and South divisions. Both teams are hoping to win this game and go to the Pac-12 championship. So we'll see what comes out of this one. The best game to watch this weekend. Number 2, we have the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, one of the best names for a college football rivalry game ever. We have Florida and Georgia meeting in Jacksonville, as is tradition. Georgia enters the game undefeated, haven't been as dominant as past years. They also haven't been tested by a quality opponent yet this season. The best team they've played is Kentucky, who was in the top 25 and then fell out of it. Defense allows just 14 points per game. So they're showing, again, it's a strength of the team, but maybe not as good as some of the defenses they've had over the past couple of years. Offenses have had the bumps in the road, still average 41 points per game. Not quite as good and haven't been tested by some good defenses. But this game, rivalry game, maybe something happens here. So we have Florida coming into the game at 5-2. Started off the season kind of shaky, but their offensive play has really improved, specifically their passing offense with quarterback Graham Mertz stepping up, wide receiver Ricky Pearsall really impressing, scoring 29 points per game and allowing 20. Florida's a little bit outmatched in this game, but it's a rivalry game. Anything can happen, and we've seen Georgia struggle before. Like they struggled with South Carolina when they should have outclassed them pretty easily. So a game definitely to watch and see how Georgia does, and kind of judge that for the future before their schedule gets a little bit tougher down the stretch. All right, number 3, the reason why we call this 5 things to watch and not just 5 games to watch. I'm not sure Texas BYU is the game to watch, but maybe it will turn into that. But the Texas quarterback situation is one to watch. They have just 1 loss this season and still have a lot on the line in terms of Big 12 and college football playoff implications. They were able to defeat Houston by 1 score last week. What was impressive about the win was Quinn Ewers went down with an injury, and backup Malik Murphy entered the game and led the team to victory. Ewers was seen wearing a sling on his shoulder due to the injury, and he's likely going to miss some time. I think it was with an AC joint sprain, which is in the shoulder. In Week 9, they play BYU. Murphy's expected to start. If he plays well, he will continue to fill in for Ewers. His skill set's a little bit different, as he's able to use his legs a little bit more than the other quarterbacks on the roster. But if he struggles, the college football world may get used to seeing some Arch Manning in there. Obviously, highly touted recruit, has the NFL football family. Murphy, I think, will play pretty well. It was kind of a pretty good quarterback. Battle. They said it was a battle. Ewers was always going to start in the spring. And Murphy played pretty well, but if there's starting to be some doubts with Murphy in this game, maybe they turn to Arch Manning. That's what the fan base will do at the first sign of trouble, what any fan base would do if you have that kind of player in there. So watch out, see what happens with Murphy here, see what happens with him over the next couple of weeks, and see if Arch Manning gets his first collegiate action. All right, number 4, we have Duke at Louisville. Now, the ACC has plenty of teams vying for the ACC championship game, likely going to be against Florida State after how Florida State has started this year. Duke is 5-2 after Week 8, but lost their first conference game of the season to Florida State last week. They need to get things back on track fast if they want to make this run at the SEC championship. It's not going to be easy because Riley Leonard, their quarterback, is injured. The defense is going to have to hang on for Duke. Their defense is really, really good, but they're going against Florida State, who has not just like stars, a couple stars. They have stars at every position. Jordan Travis, Trey Benson at running back. You have a wide receiver, Keon Coleman and Johnny Wilson. Jaheim Bell is more of a H-back tight end. They can go so many different directions, so it's very tough for them. But still a very good team, and if Leonard plays, still not confirmed one way or another, it could be good. Louisville also has one conference loss, and it was to Pitt. It was very weird that they got the big Notre Dame win and they lost to Pitt. Jeff Brom done a good job of getting the offense going at 34.1 points per game, but the defense has also been solid, giving up only 20.6 points per game. A win would get the Cardinals back on track in this ACC race. No one really expected them to be here at this point, but it's going to be tough against Duke. These are two typical basketball schools, so it's kind of interesting to see these two teams stepping up and having, I think, two of the better coaches in the conference right now, Mike Elko and Jeff Brom. So we'll be interested to watch that, see how the ACC shakes out down the stretch. Speaking of the ACC, can Clemson get things right? Now, Clemson's had a bad season by their standards this year. They've lost games to Duke, Florida State, and Miami, which has set them up terribly for the rest of the season. The Tigers have struggled with turnovers, specifically in the red zone, which have cost them at least the Miami and Duke game. They could be they're a couple plays away from being only one loss team right now, although it wouldn't have looked pretty. Tough schedule remaining. There's a chance the Tigers lose 4 games in the season for the first time since 2011, and they may lose more than that. So they need to get things back on track fast, and that starts in Week 9 with the Tigers playing NC State. Wolfpack are 4-3 and have some issues moving the ball. They make quarterback changes. They have several, but they do have several talented players in their defense, which could make this a defensive battle. And maybe they just kind of just get 1 or 2 key plays to help them win the game. If they do that, they could be like Miami did. Miami was starting a freshman quarterback, and they just had a couple key plays, and he played well down the stretch to help them get to where they needed to be for the win. Maybe NC State can do that. So Clemson had a double-digit lead. He was able to bring them back, but the defense keeps it close. Anything can happen. So Dabo needs to turn things around, turn around quick. They still have some tough games on the schedule. Keep in mind, I believe they still have North Carolina and Notre Dame, and if they lose both of those, that's 5 losses in a season for the first time since even before 2011. Dabo needs a lot of changes to this program. Thought maybe Garrett Riley coming in as offensive coordinator would help, but it looks like they're going to need more than that. So Clemson needs to get things right. We'll see how they do this weekend. Those are the 5 things I'm watching this week in college football. What are you watching? Make sure to let me know down in the comments below. For now, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.